government is dead, they will come back. All of the things that are going on now in the country, financial independence for local councils, financial independence for judiciary, financial independence for state assemblies, this is the only way democracy will work in this country. And look at, I see many cameras and the press. Look at press freedom in the country today. I say this wherever I go, there is not one single journalist in detention today being kept there because Buhari said lock him up. In my own practice, PR journalism, I've been to Kuje, I've been to jail, I've been to seize my passport, and all of this is not happening in this country to journalists today. Freedom of the press is there for everyone, almost to a fault. President Buhari does not kill political opponents. I'm not making accusations against anyone, but read the history books, you know what has happened in this country in the past. President Muhammadu Buhari ranks among the toughest African leaders against violence against women, against rape, against sexual molestation. I'm not saying this of Nigeria, but if you look around the continent, there are leaders who consider women in their nations as also possessions of the leader to be abused. So there are a lot of qualitative things. We take for granted. We don't reflect on these things, and we think, say people will open their mouth and say Buhari has done nothing. Yeah, Buhari can be accused for not executing opponents. You know, he doesn't take the laws into his hands. He doesn't order judges to say, jail this man or that woman, or free that man or that woman. Even if it is a family member, when they cross the lines of the law, President Buhari does not say, set them free. Under his watch, this country's highest law officer has been put to trial and convicted. The third most important public official on the executive side, they have tried him. The number one officer of the parliament had been tried. So what are we talking about? So much for the intangibles. Let me look at, okay, before I look at, and these things about, look at what is happening with the treasury single account and all of these things that are happening. If you go to the office of the Accountant General of the Federation today, there's a massive TV screen where you will see any government agency today that moves 5 million naira and above. It is showing there. And the president is able to see this on screen. So it's not possible for somebody, because he's a big man, to order the accountant of the office and say, go and bring dollar or pounds and take it to my house. These are things that, so this thing about the disapproval of wrongdoing, the creation of the moral environment for the right things only to be done. For Nigerians to accept the fact that corruption is even wrong. In the past, even at the rhetorical level, we had governments that did not even condemn corruption, not for one day. They did not show disapproval. So today, Nigerians, you read on the web, Facebook, all of these things. Nigerians will take picture of a policeman that harasses them. Look at all of these things that are going with MSAS, the Commission's judicial inquiry. I was stopped at a checkpoint 5 years ago. They demanded the bribe for me, or they seized my money. I was coming from the airport. My suitcase was removed. And then they are able to name officers, and people are being brought to trial today. Again, we're asking Nigerians, don't take these things for granted. Now, let me go to the physical side of things, things that most people see, touch. Because there's also something with visibility. Seeing, as they say, is believing. That's why in our villages, when they build a classroom now in the local government or a new building, they make sure that they put a red roof on it so that people will see the redness from far. And they say, that is the classroom built by chairman. So there's beauty in it, and it takes us somewhere. Now, look at what is happening with the railway, for instance, in the country. The 156-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge railway is almost completed. But in fact, commissioning is being projected at sometime in July or thereabouts. The 327-kilometer Itape-Wari standard gauge rail line, in the last few days, is being used to transport huge pipelines for the construction of the AKK gas pipeline. This is a rail track that they started laying 33 years ago. President Buhari finished it and he has put it to use now. The Abuja Kaduna, they claim they finished it, which is not true. Even the electronics, the electric part of it was not done. More than 20% of the job was left undone. President Buhari completed it and is now, in fact, being used to fight banditry, because the rail is a safe means of transportation against bandits that at some point had impacted on that road. The Abuja light rail is today in use and is being expanded. And now the groundbreaking ceremony had been undertaken for the revamping of the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri narrow gauge rail line. And the financing is today being discussed and about being finalized for the Ibadan-Kano rail projects. And of course, you also know that the groundbreaking ceremony had been done of also the Kano-Katsina-Maradi rail line, standard gauge rail line. Now, with roads, we have in place what President Buhari calls PIDF, Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund. He has funded it, he is funding it with more than $1 billion. And this is why work is going on unstoppably on the Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano Expressway, on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and on the second Niger Bridge. Today, as we speak, government is even looking beyond the government funding. It is opening up the funding for road infrastructure to private investors. There is the one we call Executive Order 7, by which you have bridges like the Bodo Boni in rivers, the Apapa Oshodi Oron Sheki Ojota in Lagos. These things are going on. There's also the Highway Development Management Initiative, which is a public-private partnership. And in the first phase, over a trillion naira of private investment into the development and maintenance of 12 roads in the country, totaling to about 2,000 kilometers in length, are being done. More than 360 billion naira has been raised from Sukuk funds, and a lot of roads in critical need for repair are being attended to from 2017 to now. In a nutshell, there are more than 600 road projects, federal road projects, that are ongoing now. And most of them have been found to have been commenced and abandoned. Contracts for roads were just being given in order to please, to generate publicity and take credit, but funding was not being done. And I give you one example: Kano-Katsina dual expressway, dual carriageway. 2 years before Muhammad Buhari came into office, there was a big ceremony. President cutting tape to declare not 1 naira was paid to contract for all the 2 years. Now go and see, more than half of that road is done, and it is still going. And there are so many of these roads across the country. I will talk about the ports now. And you know that as we speak today, new terminals for international airports for Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt have been accomplished. Port Harcourt has already been commissioned, Abuja commissioned. The others are on the way to being ceremonially put to use, being commissioned. Government has also constructed new runway for Abuja and the Enugu airports. Enugu International Airport is world class today. And there is also approval that has been given by government for private sector funded deep sea ports. Deep sea ports, the Lekki deep sea port in Lagos, and construction is already underway and is due for completion in 2022. The Boni River State deep sea port, the Ibom deep sea port, and the Warri deep sea port. Now, let's talk about power. Government has instituted what it calls energizing education program, by which universities are being taken out of the national grid system and being powered by clean energy, solar powered energy. And today, this project is complete in at least 4 universities: BUK, Funai in Ebonyi, ATBU Bauchi, and Fupre in Delta. There's also the program of energizing economies program, by which big markets in the country are being isolated again and being powered with solar energy 24 hours in a day. And as we speak today, this program has been accomplished in Sabongari Market in Kano, Ariara Market, I hope I got it right, Ariaria Market in Aba, and the Sura Shopping Complex in Lagos. There is also the ongoing mass metering program. It's a big issue for the country. People take power, they don't pay, and then when it fails, they abuse government. By December last year, Central Bank had issued 14 billion naira for the funding of this metering program, and it is going on. There's also the Solar Power Niger, as you are fully aware, that 5 million of grid connections, to Nigeria is being worked upon, was launched by the Vice President recently in Jigawa State. And the program is expected to increase, to generate additional 7 billion naira in tax revenue per annum and 10 million US dollars in import substitution. And there's also the Presidential Power Initiative, which is also called the Siemens Power Program. Siemens helped Egypt to stabilize power distribution and supply to homes. And it is that model the Nigerian government is borrowing. Siemens of Germany, with the strong support of Chancellor Angela Merkel, is working with the government of President Buhari in order to accomplish this. And the idea is to upgrade and modernize Nigeria's electricity grid system. And the contract for the pre-engineering phase of this work had been issued in February this year, and following 2020 approval by the Federal Executive Council. Let's touch slightly oil and gas. I touched briefly on the AKK project, the groundbreaking of the 614 kilometer Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Abuja, Kano gas project. Work is ongoing and on schedule. And this is going to change a lot when it comes on stream with industrialization in the country, with power generation, and with raising of standard of living across the country. When you see what is happening in the country today, a lot of this foreign investment in industry, they are following power. Of course, labor is important, but the coastal areas have tended to be much of the beneficiaries. Lagos, Port Harcourt, Ogun. And the idea is that all of these things, when you make power available, east, north, south, east, and west, you're also distributing, you're fighting poverty, and by which you'll conquer insecurity. The government only recently has concluded the first marginal fields bid. For the first time in 20 years, this hadn't been done. And this has raised more than $500 million US for the government. The government has also launched the National LPG Expansion Program, including the removal of VAT from LPG. This was done recently in Edo State. The financial close also and signing of contract for LNG Train 7 has been accomplished. And this will grow Nigeria's capacity for gas by 35%. And the history behind this, if I might digress a bit, President Buhari, as Minister of Petroleum under Obasanjo, had envisioned all of this evolution of trades. When they left government in 1979, politicians abandoned this NLG development program. And as destiny will have it, Buhari has come back in another form as civilian, and he has picked it up from there, and this is where we are today. We had in 2021, we have early in this year, signed with Morocco an agreement to develop a multi-purpose platform, an industrial platform that will utilize Nigeria's gas and Moroccan phosphate to produce 750 tons of ammonia and 1 million tons of phosphate fertilizers annually from 2025. And this project is being located in Akwa Ibom State. Congratulations, National Secretary. In December 2020, the government also commissioned the new NPDC integrated gas handling facility in Edo State. Government also established a $350 million Nigerian Content Intervention Fund to finance manufacturing, contracts and assets in the oil and the gas industry. Policy, regulatory and funding support for the establishment of modular refineries across the Niger Delta has been put in place. When this administration came in 2015, we had only one functional modular refinery. Today, there are at least 6 ongoing modular refinery projects, and expansion of ones that are already existing. Let's go to agriculture. And the quickest pick from here is the Anchor Borrowers Program. This country spent $5 million every day to import rice. Tell me one country that cannot feed itself that can call that country an independent one. Today, not $1 from Central Bank of Nigeria is issued for importation of rice. The Anchor Borrowers Scheme, launched in 2015 by President Muhammadu Buhari, has made funding to more than 2.9 million smallholder farmers in 21 different commodities. Not only rice, but wheat, maize, cotton, cassava, poultry, soybeans, groundnuts, and fish, cultivating over 3.6 million hectares of farmland. There is also the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which I brushed a short while ago, which was launched by government with the support of the Moroccan government, and the Russians have also joined us in this. In December 2016, this program helped to increase the number of fertilizer blending plants in the country from only 3 that were functional in 2016 to 44 today, employing thousands of people and saving the country more than $200 million in foreign exchange used for the importation of fertilizer. Government has also created special agro-industrial processing zones. And this is in partnership with the African Development Bank, led by a fellow Nigerian, IFAD, and the Bank of Industry. Under these special processing zones, centers are being provided with infrastructure such as water, electricity, and roads, as well as facilities for skills training. 7 states and the FCT have been selected for this. And the states are Ogun, Oyo, Imo, Cross River, Kano, Kaduna, and Kwara. Let me go to social investment program and poverty alleviation. When President Muhammadu Buhari launched this program in 2016, which currently stands as the largest program now on the continent and one of the largest in the world, the National Social Register of Poor and vulnerable Nigerians today has 32.6 million persons from more than 7 million poor and vulnerable households identified across 708 local council areas of the country, 8,723 wards, and 86,610 communities across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. From this number, 1.6 million of these poor and vulnerable households, comprising more than 8 million individuals, 45,744 communities from 5,483 wards in 7 local governments in 35 states and FCT are currently benefiting from a conditional cash transfer program, which pays a bi-monthly stipend of 10,000 naira per household. In January 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the Nigeria's micro pension scheme. And you know that when he came, he found, actually, before our eyes there, pensioners were dying, queuing for money which was not there. I hope you realize that that is no longer a part of the ecosystem. It's no longer in view. Pensions are being paid, backlog is being cleared, and people are being treated humanely. You don't have to queue to die to get pensions. Okay.
That was a keynote address by the SSA Media and Publicity to the President. He has disclosed a long epistle revealing series of job well done by the President, his past and present regime. Topmost among many is in petroleum, railway construction, as well as in the agriculture and empowerment sector.
Yes, thank you very much for reminding me. So I continue, but I'm almost finishing also. And my colleague here was just reminding me of the sordid scandal of the Nigeria Airways pensions. You know that when President Buhari put down money for pensions to be paid, in some families it is grandchildren who came to collect that pension. The actual workers had died, the children have died. It's the grandchildren who came forward to sign and collect that pension. So what the government is even doing now with this new scheme is that with less than 3 employees, you can save for a provision, for retirement or upon interdiction by Nigerians, so that you save for the rainy day. In January, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the Nigeria's macro pension scheme. That's one of them. Okay. And there are so many other things, in order to bring Nigeria out of the COVID economy, which has shrunken economies all around the globe. And you know that China recorded 18.3% growth in the last quarter, and Europe is laughing at China. They don't want to believe it is true. But the fact of the matter is that only China grew by 3.something% under the COVID circumstances. All economies of the world regressed. And which country was the first to emerge from that recession? Nigeria. Came out in the first quarter of this year ahead of schedule, ahead of projection. And here we are today, rebuilding the economy. So we have a special spending project with 2.3 trillion naira to fund so many things in the country in order that the economy keeps being active and then never again shall we go back to recession, because it's extraordinarily skillful and display of competence for a country to survive 2 recessions in less than 5 years. It's difficult to find anywhere in the world. But here we are. So government has launched Survival Fund, National Youth Investment Fund, to pay creative young Nigerians to fund their own initiatives. The National Special Public Works Program, this 774 100,000 jobs that are being issued now. COVID-19 targeted credit facility for millions of small businesses, households, young people across the country with federal grants, loans, and stipends. Lastly, then I will broach on the issue of security, which worries everyone, and is a matter that the government is not taking lightly. When we came in, it's documented, 14 local council areas were under Boko Haram, and they had declared their own Islamic caliphate with a flag and system of administration of their own, system of taxation. And this administration has smashed that out. Boko Haram is not in control of any territory that they can call on. Hit and run, yes, they have resorted to mercenary tactics, guerrilla kind of warfare. But even as it is now, please watch out for what is happening with the changes that the president effected in the command structure of the military. So much action is going on. As you are aware, so one newspaper yesterday scooped the story about the ongoing efforts to cut funding to Boko Haram, and used by bureaus de change and all of that. It is still work in progress. A lot of discoveries are being made. We are cutting funding to Boko Haram. We are cutting weapons supply. Government is successfully cutting supplies to Boko Haram of all manner of things. This is why today, as we speak, currently, you see what is happening now. Boko Haram is no longer fighting. It's today not fighting for Islamic Caliphate anymore. They are fighting for food and the weapons which they want to replenish, and for money, because they have turned into armed robbers. The attack they carried out 3-4 days ago on Damasak, they told people, don't bother, we're not here for you. We're here to collect food and drugs. And that's why they raided UN and other facilities, and they were just taking these things away. Well, I tell you this, the military is getting ready, because not only are they going to stop them from coming to the towns, they are going to stop them dead on their tracks in the forests. And my plea as I end this conversation is to ask, especially this large media presence here, I think that a lot of our media people should have a rethink of how they report Boko Haram. A lot of people, you ask them, they say they want to do balanced story. I don't know any country in which a terrorist and a legitimate democratically government are placed on an even keel. A terrorist and a bandit cannot be equated with a legitimate government. And the enormous publicity, Mrs. Thatcher said this so many years ago, publicity is oxygen to terrorists. And that is what they relish. Why give them front page? And in any case, this is our own country. Why can't we look at things from a positive point of view? All of these people, I'm not sure there's anyone in this world that does not have a brother or a sister, an uncle or a father or even a mother that is one way or the other linked to the fight against banditry and terrorism in this country. They are our family members. We need to support them. They are fighting on our behalf so that we can go home and sleep while they tackle enemies on our behalf. So as the philosophers teach, there's a glass of water that is, you have the choice of looking at it, either it is half empty or half full. Let's see this country as being more half full than half empty. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
If you allow me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. If you allow me.
Thank you, sir.
No, let me also something. Thank you for that elaborate explanation. And another very key issue that is confronting Nigeria is patriotism. We see a government that we are not involved as a government that is not your own. In America or any other civilized world, there is what they call national issues. You have to, as a matter of fact, understand that if anything happens to this country, you might think that you will escape. You might think that your family will escape. You might not be that lucky. It will be for you and I to understand. Because in a way, all of us are educated people to you have read history all over the world. The main issue, it happened to me and you. For instance, if someone condemns you, and that person says you will not come out of your poverty, and here you have God has taken you out of poverty, it will be difficult for the person to acknowledge that you are achieved. It's not very difficult. What is wrong with this our ABC government? You can't negotiate with President Buhari. That is the main problem. You cannot negotiate with him on bribery and corruption. You cannot. In fact, I've never seen anyone without cause to go and sit down with the president and say, I will give you this court. I will do this. Then people keep doing that. And you have to defend your interest because actually acting on your behalf is defending you. Most of the people that are used to the normal system, if you read the history of Italy very well, when the mafia were in power, it took a whole lot. The corruption system, the system rooted in this country is so powerful that, and they can fund anything. They can fund the media, they can fund propaganda, they can fund. It is difficult for you to uproot them the way you think. So patriotism is important. This is what we're going to heal most of the things we're facing. But if you face logically analyze it, when you analyze the situation, you compare the situation, when you put things the way they were supposed to be, you realize that he has done so well for this country. And he has explained a lot about what is going on. People who lost power, who lost patronage, who refuse to see most of the points we're talking about. When we came from, we would keep repeating, that's why we go take it in there. Then after what happened? We were plugged into the pandemic that followed globally. People, you can see that it's difficult to come, and the Nigeria came out of it. Nigerians are very intelligent people and very resourceful, sorry. Both negatively and positively, you can get Nigeria. Anywhere they can get things. They always look for a loophole to get out of something. So no matter what you do, if they don't benefit from that thing, then what happens? They will speak against it. Speaking of the sir, another point which is very important, I'm a politics teacher. Politicians have spoiled the system. Now, yes, no, how they do not seriously. They give handout. They give handout to people. And the citizens, if you don't give handout to people, they will not even respect who you are. That's why some of you are qualified and not even get to where you are. Because every citizen, every voter is looking for, they doesn't have money. If you don't spend, where you will be the one, where is going to get this money? Only your house. It has robbery, it has stealing. As a matter of fact, you steal for them and go to prison later. This is the main issue. Not that we don't know what we're doing. The spirit of entrepreneurship is what we, this government, encourage. We have a lot of programs where people have refused to key into. People have refused to open portals for most of the government programs. Why? Because they're looking for handouts. I'm just adding, and you know that no one can contravene what he has said. It's a very elaborate and all that. So I want you to understand this. And the extra point I'm making to this program is that we want to be patriotic. Let us separate, shift that out, partisanship, citizenship, loyalty to a country, peacefulness of a country, goal system of a country. That is what we are growing. If you move from this other level to this other level, you're going to see things differently. Differently, you're going to see things. I can see an opponent talking against the government because it's not involved. I can see another person talking about the region because the brother is not involved. But what about this? By the time your brother is involved, what will happen to this other group of people? They support you. We have to be our brother's keepers. Nigeria is a very sensitive country. Religion is very sensitive. Tribal ethnicity is a very sensitive issue and all that. That's where we need to be patriotic and support Nigerian project. Nigeria's a project. Where things are wrong, say things are wrong, not because of sentiment. Where things are good, say things are good. If it's good, it's good. We're sincere about it. Look at the program. I didn't even know most of the program supported by the president, the state government owns it, they play politics with it. I don't even know about the fertilizer plant of the federal government support to White Home. They will claim, the government will claim, I don't even know why this report. How will you even get a this report without the approval of the federal government? How will you even go there? So we can't even talk about it. People locally, they will want to use it as if it is their program. It's not possible. They will not say anything and all that. So I just want to add. I hope
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Wow.
That was a short address by the APC National Secretary, John Appan, encouraging Nigerians to remain loyal and patriotic citizens to its country.
Another round of applause for the senior special goodwill address on behalf of the Buhari Media Organization, and after that, I'll just shed some light on the dedication of the senior special advisor to the president. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to pay my respect to the national chairman of the APC, every represented by the national secretary, Senator.
Okay, let's give me another opportunity, please. Let me explain my name to you. It's very important. Afan, you know this Afan. Then you know this Shehu. Afan is the first. Then Shehu is the second set. Say Afan. Say Shehu. Idele.
Senator Afan Odo Idele. Let me also recognize the Senior Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Madam Garba Shehu. I want to also acknowledge members of the Buhari Media Organization here present, and I want to acknowledge gentlemen of the press and the APC correspondence channel for the faithful job they've been doing. I want to thank the APC Professionals Forum for creating this opportunity for all of us to gather here today. Indeed, I represent the chairman of my media organization for this occasion, the new ICT media. Now, what I have observed is that the APC Professionals Forum is actually bridging a gap that has existed in terms of synergy, in terms of creating the awareness about what the federal government under President Buhari has been doing over the years. They have come to, bridge that gap. They have come to create opportunities for people who are in government to actually tell Nigerians what they're doing. Now, I want to applaud the National Secretary for actually preaching patriotism amongst Nigerians, preaching that we should love our country first. And then I go to the SSA, who has taken enough time to reel out most of the achievements of the administration, both the tangibles and the intangibles. The ones that Nigerians, the ones that are being underreported. I want to thank you, SSA. This job you have done is wonderful. You have actually marketed the president's achievements very well to Nigerians today. And I believe that going forward, this good work will continue with the platform that the APC management, APC leadership has created for Nigerians to know that APC administration is actually working. The president deserves the plaudits of Nigerians. The president, for me, over the years, since 1999, many of us don't know about what is called constituency projects, because the monies provided for constituency projects are usually pocketed. But today, you will observe that many federal legislators are running back to their constituencies, executing such projects that are being budgeted, which we didn't know before. The reason is that President Muhammad Buhari will not tolerate anyone, pocketing money that belongs to the localities. Look at the railway sector. I think that is something that is amazing. Nigerians are now seeing trains once again after about 25 years. The last time I boarded a train was from Enugu to Gudi in Nasarawa State in 1982. But now people are boarding train from Kogi to Warri. People are now boarding train from Abuja to Lagos. And people are boarding train from Lagos to Ibadan. It's unprecedented. And more are in the works. So the president has done marvelously well, and it's our responsibility as people in the media industry, to ensure that we make all these facts and figures available to the public. The single-minded determination of the president is what has enabled corruption to be reduced drastically in Nigeria. And this has also made it possible that these projects will be executed for the betterment of all Nigerians. So I want to say that we are glad that the APC Professional School has provided this opportunity for these achievements to be realized out. And I want our colleagues to keep into it and ensure that these good things are brought to the attention of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Because of time, and the president will also have to go and make their reports, we'll be taking a few questions. We give opportunities for members of the audience and members of the press corps to ask at least just 5 questions. Please let us limit our questions to what has been presented, especially by the senior special advisor. Brief question.
If you are directing the question to the party, say party. If you are going to question as advisor,
so to moderate this, I'll ask the chairman of the occasion to moderate people who will be asking for the questions. So you please moderate.
No, the same.
The representative of the chairman, the special assistant to the president, the chairman of the Commission Forum. Dear colleagues, it is time for us to ask questions. We want to transfer and limit our questions to Madam Garba Shehu, as well as if possible anything for the chairman, is always available for us to meet with the secretary. So I think I want to also leave that questions to Madam Garba Shehu.
Freddy Olago is my name. Madam, you spoken very well regarding the achievement of this administration and what the government is doing. One issue that is threatening the foundation of this country today is the issue of unity. There are a lot of non-state actors calling for secession, and the critics of this administration are saying that the presidency is not talking about and how to address this issue. Can you use this opportunity to tell us, the thinking of the presidency? So people are saying a national conference like that of 2014 should be called so that unity of this country can be more cemented. Without unity, all these achievements you've spoken about, some Nigerians might not appreciate it. What is the presidency doing to cement this country solidly more than what we have today?
Tom.
Ask the question.
Tom.
Ask the question.
Tom,
Then you will respond.
You can stay where you are.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Tom Okwe from the Daily Times newspaper. Sir, you spoke very well on the achievements of the present administration, especially on security. I want to ask, you deliberated very well, and on insecurity, I would want to ask that. The government has done very well, but there's no day that passes without one hearing of people dying, people kidnapped, banditry everywhere. Yes, I would want to know, Nigerians want to know, what exactly is the issue that the government will not tackle it so that Nigerians can sleep like they were sleeping in those days with their two eyes closed and their doors not bolted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My name is Gerald. I don't know if it's a question or a request, so I was wishing questions will come first. But let me thank distinguished Senator Akpan Udo there as Secretary, and Madam Garba Shehu. Thank you so much. Sir, like our MC said earlier, you've been a father to the forum. We appreciate you. Given how related with you, just reminds one of a statement by the late Dr. Miles Monroe. It amazes us how that, unlike before, you have heavy-duty issues, quote unquote, in the past, dealing with the governor, reconciling, and all of that. But you also have this eagle's eye looking out for us, the need for supporters of the party, quote unquote, who could be considered to be on the fringes, supporting, going on air, defending. We thank you for all of that. Thank you also, Madam Shehu, for coming out. I will not fail to thank Mr. Jide and his, our partners, the APC Press Corps. Having said this, my request on behalf of the forum is this, like every day we are in the media, we are everywhere. Now, the essence of this program is to get those hardcore achievements out there. Madam Shehu has done so much, and as he was talking, I was naming it down sector by sector. He talks about 600 roads and more. That's works and housing. He talks about off-grid power revolution. That's solar energy. Our request is this, sir. Let me make it a question. How can the party, beyond what you have already done for us, and Madam Shehu, using your office, how can we reach out more to support us to get office holders, ministers, in various sectors, because this is a periodic event, to always attend. I know that 2 ministers would have been here. It was last Friday that they called to tell us that it won't be their program. They are thinking of another day, but securing such is always, peculiar. So the question is, how can you, sir, and Madam Garba, use your good offices to help us ensure that periodically, I think either monthly or quarterly, when we hold this, they can come around to throw out these truths, which is indeed a defense to the falsehood out there, especially as we move forward towards 2023. Thank you.
Last two.
Good afternoon. My name is Adamwal of the Guardian newspaper. Still on the issue of smashing the Boko Haram terrorist group. There's a story making to our president of the minister in the cabinet of President Muhammad Buhari being the sponsor of terrorism and the supporter of Taliban, particularly the Minister of Communications and Digital Development. So what is the presidency doing about the issue? We haven't had much from the presidency on the issue. Thank you.
My name is Andre of
We don't know.
There is so much quiet in the southeastern part of Nigeria today, with police formations being burnt down and all that. I think it's high time we get the reaction from the presidency. Thank you very much.
Sorry, can you say that again? I missed that.
I said there is so much disquiet in the southeastern part of Nigeria, talking about Anambra, Abia, with the burning down of police station. I want to hear what the presidency is doing as regards this.
Please, can you allow him to answer this question?
Yes, I think this is the kind of the question for today. Like I said earlier, this is just a launch of this event. There will be a time when actual office holders will come, and then the media will have the opportunity to grill them for all the questions that they have. But today is just an official launch. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. The first one is about the unity of this country and the calls for secession. And they said the presidency is not talking. The presidency has been talking. And our position is clearly that this country is one, is united, and by the grace of God will continue to be united. Look, one thing with this president, and the National Secretary has said a bit of that, is that you can't intimidate Buhari. You can't bully him. A lot of these people who are calling for secessions, they're the problem of this country. And I'm happy that reasonable opinion is now being, reasonable voices are now rising. Is it not only yesterday we were reading Afenifere saying we're not the most credible faction of anything. We're not for secession. Ohaneze Indibo has said this over and over again. So this thing about secession is, they had used it in the past. You cry secession and break up of Nigeria, and then you intimidate the city leader. And then he opens the vote and he brings money to settle people. President Buhari will pay no, he's not going to pay. And now it is clear that having ignored all of that, reasonable opinions are coming from those states and from those regions. the governors in the Southwest, we have all had them. They have denounced all of these things. So it's a sham. Nigerians want to be one, they want to continue. Yes, there are problems, and we are hoping that as people united and loving of one another, we'll come together and solve our own problems. And that leads me to the next question, which is no, it's still part of his earlier question, whether there should be a national conference. And what national conference do you want more than a parliament? Any Democrat, anyone who is a Democrat in heart, in his heart, in her heart, in practice, in their beliefs, they should believe in the tripartite structure of government, governments that are democratic. There must be a parliament, executive arm of the government, and the judiciary, each one being independent and cooperating with the other. We have an elected parliament, which mandate is to be the custodian of the sovereignty of the Nigerian people. Look, a lot of these people who are crying for this secession, they are unelectable. If you think you are electable, go around for a parliamentary seat, whether House of Reps or Senate, and come and table an amendment for the Constitution. The process is ongoing as we speak now under DSP, the Deputy Senate President. They are calling for memorandum. Why can't you present what you want? So the issue is that people who are not Democrats want a parallel parliament to be set up. And this Constitution does not recognize two parliaments in this country. We have one parliament that is sovereign, that retains, is the custodian of the sovereignty of the Nigerian people. And believe then in periodic elections. If your member representing you has failed to present this request that you want, for whether it is a change of structure at state, local government, or national level, pull him out. 4 years after, don't vote for him. Put another rep who will do what you want. This is how democracy works, periodic elections. Now, this thing about security, that no day passes without media reporting killings. And it is tragic. Nobody is happy that deaths are being recorded. But the point I want to make is that it is in human nature. We don't know any country in the world today that is crime-free. I was going to, when the question was being raised, I was going to my WhatsApp message. An interesting conversation recently was around the publication of a new Nigerian newspaper. Tuesday, November 16, 1966. And on the front page of this newspaper, there's a story saying, Midwest police rescue 10 kidnapped men, 1966 November. If you open the press today, and some people are reporting kidnapping, you will think that this is a first-time crime in the country. That's not. I'm not saying it is welcome. Please, I shouldn't be misunderstood. Even in the United States of America, I said 2 days ago, people were shot and killed, 8 of them, for no reason. So we have problems with infiltration by unauthorized weapons. This is why President Buhari ordered that anyone caught with AK-47 that is not a law enforcement agent, is not authorized, that person should be shot if they don't surrender that weapon. We know where it is all coming. I'm not going into the history, all of the things that are happening in the Sahel and Libya, uncontrolled and ungoverned spaces around us, and the terrorists being recruited from our own people and the people from far and distant places, including those that were displaced in Iraq and Syria and Libya. So it's a big challenge. Let us cooperate with law enforcement in the country and to curtail these things. And a lot of the times, and I've said this a number of places, we also have bad eggs in our own communities who reveal the secrets of our military. They had this one in Katsina, and I've said it before. A tea seller near the airport, when they moved the aircraft to Katsina Airport to operate against bandits in Zamfara State. This man that sold the tea near the airport, the sponsor of the bandits hired him, built a house for him, bought him a car, golf car, and gave him money to do bigger tea business. Each time an aircraft took off from Katsina Airport to go and operate in Zamfara, he will call them on phone and say they are coming. By the time they get there, the targets have disappeared. So there are bad people in our communities. What are we doing as citizens to rid ourselves of informants? Because the military people, they are as human as we are. They have blood running in their veins. So Nigerians will sleep with their two eyes open, and they give a chance to the ongoing exercises that are going on in the country. And the thing about law enforcement, and it's like journalism also. Every day you do good story, you don't hear anything. The day you publish a bad story, MD, everybody, editor is looking for your head. That's the way it happens. So our law enforcement agencies, you can see steadily, I think that we're beginning to, I'm not saying that it is time to record that there is success. No, but we're getting there. We're building up to success in all of these operations. And look at what is happening in Benue lately, following the killing of the military men. A whole governor presenting himself there and saying, I apologize for the killings of these people. It tells you that people are beginning to say, look, we are all in this together. And we just have to work together to rid this country of these elements. Pantani, can you please excuse me because I've not been briefed. You want government position on this Pantani issue. I've not been briefed about it. I have my personal views about it, but I cannot disclose my personal, because I'm entitled to hold my personal opinion. Yes, sir. Now, the thing about Southeast is part of the earlier conversation we just had now. Criminals are fighting to gain the upper hand, but I tell you that no criminal or terrorist is bigger than this country. None of them is mightier than our armed forces. This structure has been there. They were certificated and praised for World War I, World War II. They stabilized the entire West Africa region. Without Nigeria, would there be Liberia in its present form? Would there be Sierra Leone in its present form? Or even Gambia? So just give it time and support and prayers. We will win against these forces. Thank you very much.
Yeah, gentlemen of the press, can I add something?
Yes, sir.
There is issue of class. Please listen to me. Whether you like it or not, the society is graded in classes. Whenever you see rioting, you think that they are going to know every APC member. You think that they are going to know every PDP member. You are wrong. And if you believe that you are not dissatisfied, then you deceive yourself. There's what they call status symbol. Your beauty, your shoe, your wristwatch, your handbag can be one. And you'll be seen, you'll be expected because these are the people that have kept us where we are. At that time, you will not say, no, I am not the government. Say that. You look too good. When the NSAS, example, when the NSAS thing came, people in Lagos were clapping, thinking that that is the time to bring down the government of President Buhari or Edo Buhari. Were you not shocked that TVC, a television station, has employed a lot of those stations, that station was burned down? Were you not shocked that buses that are meant to transport people to the real for the masses of billions of naira was burned down? Were you not shocked that innocent journalists were targeted, those who were working in those houses? Therefore, when you say agitation, Don't sit down and say it's for them. No, it is you. Because everyone that appears to look good is perfect. Because the society is satisfied in classes. The man that you see as a man who turn against you, he sees you every day at night. So he must have a consciousness that you are part of it. You think that you are not part of it because you are not involved. No, look at your shoe. Look at the dress you wear. Look at your wristwatch. It's a status symbol. Look at the car you drive. You will be part of it. So it is very, very important that we promote patriotism. We must say no to violence. Whether you want to suppress, whether you want to succeed, whatever you see criminal activities to be criminal activities. When somebody is doing things against this nation, grade that person to be criminal. Because when they start that thing, you don't know where you will end. You don't know how you will be. Most of these people you are talking about with aircraft, they will fly to the nearest country. You will be here. Most of the people you think that you are working for will not be there till the end of the crisis. So therefore, it's very important that we promote the nationhood of this country. And not because a particular person is in government. It's very important that you take note of this point. The Lagos issue is very important. The riot snowball to something else, unexpected things. When you start something, you never know where you will end. So I want you to take note of this very important point. Appreciate. Just sit back and try to look at the personality of the president. See whether there's any good thing in him that you can thank him for. Look at those things. Don't do. Sorry, I'm going to use a very stupid word. Words, forgive me. Don't stop quarreling. You know when somebody hates somebody, you follow the hate. Rationalize your hatred. Don't just say, I don't like this man. See beyond that. See beyond that. It's very important. The administration, as far as I'm concerned, we have done very, very well. Very, very well. Very well. And not only that, we are not like them. When they are in trouble, we bail them out. Even when we bail them out, they'll come out to say nonsense. One time, I can normally say, you bring money, you give me that money. How can you say you bring money? Without that money, how will you survive? There is a means, the ways and means of the economy. They have to do things. You can't say that because they are being unpatriotic. Nobody, the president of this country will see any state collapse. We from the Niger to the Delta, when we agitate for resource control, one of the reasons they give to us, if we implement that, most states in the north, most states will not pay salary. And probably the reason that way is the same truth. That's why we also pray that almost all the states should harness their mineral resources, their potential, so that we will be at the same level of contribution to the federal government. So it is very important that you classify criminality. And we are strengthening the institution, the president, why I say independent of judiciary. In fact, I remember in this country, where the government, the National Assembly voted for independence of the local government. They say, no, we don't want to. And the legislature say, no, we don't want. We want to be appendix to the government. Well, you know, in this country, and the president has given a executive order again and said, local government autonomy. Because you were put there by government, say, if you open your mouth, say, I will be trouble with me. That is the kind of country we're talking about. For once, because the man is not giving up now. He's doing it the best of his way. He seems to think the other way around. Ladies and gentlemen, as media people, can we for one clap hand for Mr. President? Let us clap hand for him. As media.
Thank you. Can I just run correction for the third question was raised suggestion? I'm interested in that. If you have a critical national issues, you want to address the nation on, talk to us. Maybe we can partner.
I don't mind. I have to go.
Thank you very much. While the SSA was giving his speech, we had the protocol officer of our party, Malam Abdullahi, welcome. Please, a round of applause for him. Also, we also have the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress of Garba State, my chairman, Barrister Yusuf El Sudi. A round of applause for him, please. With the kind permission of my chairman, sir, we collectively, there is no lady that has spoken in this event today. And that goes contrary to the values of APC. Please let me give room to one lady to speak. Thank you.
Okay.
I would just like to make, Hamida is my name. I would like to make comments. My comments goes to the media here. And it's going to talk on unity and division of this country. If you read headlines, most of our headlines,
One house, please.
Go ahead.
I think media itself contributes a lot to division and disintegration of this country. You read a particular headline, and I want them to know that crime is crime. No matter where it comes from, is related to a particular tribe. Media related to a particular tribe and while like they are coming this time, they will take government to a particular tribe. And only the other end, they will get and not give a footage of other information. And like Malam just said earlier, that we are giving terrorists more advance, high coverage, but we are not giving our young men and women that are in the front line that are fighting and protecting me and you. That's what we are doing.
Prayers.
Okay. Chairman of the APC press call for his vote of thanks.
And Christian prayers.
Thank you for joining us live in the APC Secretariat on APC Scorecard at Next Level Agenda with stakeholders. You have heard it all from the special guests present on the great achievements of this current administration and how to move it to a greater heights. Don't forget to subscribe and click on our buttons to notify you of future episodes. Once again, I'm Zainab Ahmed, Voicetv, Nigeria.
In December, of the need to collaborate with APC. We saw an opportunity in ensuring that we move this party to the next level. One of the things we realized is that, yes, APC is working, but APC is constantly reporting. It is not as a result of the inability of the media to report, but as a result of the fact that the APC personnel, APC active participants are not always there to give us account of their stewardship. And I thank God that we have started today. I hope that we get better outing in recent times to come. So on behalf of the APC press corps, we want to assure all organs of APC as a party, and we are here to disseminate to the public whatever you are doing. We are here to collaborate with you, we are here to work with you, and we ensure that we take this country to the next level. Thank you very much for coming. Hope to see you some other time. Come this way. I will ask you to give the closing prayer. Please let me stand up. Father, we thank you for a time like this. Bless you because you are here. Lord, we commit this forum, we commit this party into your hands. Most importantly, we commit our country into your hands. We have been told to pray for our leaders. Lord, we commit all our leaders at the national level, the state level, and local level. We ask for wisdom from the throne of grace for them. That this country will be one and will progress and develop. All this we ask in Jesus' name.
National anthem, please.
Thank you very much.
Let me just go to our next edition, hosting the Vice President and Minister Fashola. We'll give you a date that will be.